right. So thank you so much, Sylvia, for sharing your story. And I don't want us to stop there. Nona too, Dan was nodding. Hilda was like, oh, okay, it's nice. And Christian, as usual, is very calm. He's collecting his notes before speaking. So maybe Dan, do you have yours? Ama tuende kwa Hilda kwanza.
Why not?
Please.
Okay, maybe I'll begin with the experience of my cousin.
Okay.
There is a cousin of mine who lost her life as a result of unsafe abortion. May the Almighty God continue granting her eternal repose.
Yeah. Hey,
So,
Dan, you want to say, take us slowly. May her soul rest in peace. That's what Dan means. Yes.
just in case if she could have carried out the process of abortion in a safe manner, she could be alive at the moment. Then my personal experience. While I was in high school, my parents kept on talking about matters to do with not having sex until the age of marriage. They also used to inform me that if I ended up having sex, I couldn't merit to join a public varsity. Yeah. So I listened to them.
Okay.
I was very obedient, and I ended up finishing high school without having sex. But immediately I finished, I was psyched up to have
Very
sex.
ready.
Very ready for
I
Tuesday.
was very ready. Yeah. So in the process, I managed to join Kenyatta University, our main campus.
Yeah.
And fellow men used to inquire from me whether I've ever had sex. You know, they were questioning the kind of man I was. So I wanted to do away with all the doubts. And because my mom had informed me that if you are not keen, if you are not keen enough in the varsity, you may end up contracting STIs. So to them, they were like, unaweza ukienda ukitembea lakini utarudi ukiwa umefunikwa, that implies that uko ndani ya jeneza. So to them, having sex, the biggest worry was me contracting HIV and AIDS. So I had to get a solution for that, and the best solution was to use a condom. Yeah, so I ended up using a condom. Yeah, pleasure ilikuwa, utamu ilikuwa.
Hey.
I'm saying that with a lot of confidence. So there is nothing like condom sitamu.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good to know.
Like the pleasure is not felt when your skin comes in contact with the skin of your spouse. It's only felt when maybe as a man you ejaculate and maybe a lady comes, you know, that's when pleasure is felt. So matters to do with the mambo na kutumia condom sitamu, it's just a myth. So I hope I have managed to debunk it.
Yeah, which is good. And also, it's important for young people to understand that even when you're trying to teach and to educate and to create awareness about these issues, even the manner in which people use these products, let's say a condom, is very important. And I believe you've come across people who say, I don't know how to use a condom. And it is okay to say that so that you learn how to use it and it is put properly. Because now again, when you talk about products like condoms and how to use it, if it's not used properly, again, it's counterproductive of why it is being used in the first place. So it's good that Dan has touched on that, and thank you for your story. And it's good, you know, parents sometimes use whatever message or whatever they can put their message, so long as they feel like we are trying to talk to our child about these things. And it's good that your parents had the guts to even tell you, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. Traditionally, that's how our parents used, by instilling fear. It was one way of them making sure that they're protecting us. To you, Hilda.
My personal experience.
Yes.
As I said, I was born and brought up in Shags. I just came to Nairobi after the demise of my parents.
So you came Nairobi by bus?
By bus. Yeah, that was in 2014, 2015. I was there. So when I was in Shags, I knew nothing about sexual reproductive health and rights. And I thought, like, the kind of business that my mom was running. My mom was selling changa, and people would come and beat her. Some wanted to sleep with her, and hata mimi, like, mtu atakuja aseme give me, nipe pombe ya 10, and after that if you don't atalipa, and if you ask anataka kukupiga, or atakwambia umpe pombe, then atakwambia kuja nyuma ya tent. Tunasemanga nyuma ya tent huku kuna jikoni, you know, unaona. So mimi at first I thought it was something normal. I didn't know kuna organizations that wanafanya na hizi organization that deals with Srhr. So growing up in Srhr was really difficult for me. I really went through a lot. As a young lady, I really went through a lot. At one point, I didn't know what rape was all about. There's someone who just alinishika, and I didn't know, like, and I didn't even share. Like, alikuwa ananiambia tikuja nyuku. That is someone who was drunk, and ananiambia you come. Then he started removing his clothes and started kunishika, but me I didn't have that. Hiyo kuongea, like, if I tell my mom, mamangu atanipiga, you know. Yet yeye pia kuna zake kule, unaona. So the life was really difficult, and my mom also was going through sexual and gender-based violence. I didn't even know that touching is a part of sexual harassment. I didn't know. I didn't know touching. I didn't know catcalling is another form. I just thought that mtu akikwambia that is a normal thing. So in Srhr, the girls there still, our Jewy, they have rights, sexual reproductive health and rights. They have their rights. That is why I do tell them, once mtu amekushika without your consent, you need to report. You need to speak up, you know. So when I came to Nairobi, I was growing up. I was very thin, by the way. Not thin, thick. Nilikuwa nimenona. So you know, in Srhr, ukitembea watu wanasema ule dema kona wanazita, you know, adiambo, madiaba. So by then I was young. I was around. I was underage, like below 18 years, below 16 years. So people would call me names. People will say that mimi ni mkubwa, unaelewa. But I didn't know they are harassing me sexually. I didn't know something to do with bodily autonomy. I didn't know something to do with sexual rights, you know. I didn't know where to report when somebody calls me those names, unaelewa. So when I came to Nairobi and nikamaliza high school, primary, then nikaingia high school. Then unfortunately my mom died. Then I came to Nairobi. But then I was going through a lot, like kukatia, watu kukatia. And I remember my first boyfriend even alininyang'anya simu. Because I didn't have sex with him. I knew nothing about sex. Like, ananiambia kuja. So aliamua achukue simu yangu. Then he took my phone and went with it. When I went for that phone, he first told me not to go there with a friend. I took my friend and went there with her. So he told me, if that girl is going, I'd rather not go. So the guy decided to have my phone till to date. So that is how I left my phone. Good. Because I personally told myself I won't have sex until I finish school, because the challenges, the stigma, the challenges that the girls were going through when they're pregnant, you know, huko ushago hakuna pesa, umepea mzazi shida, huko mzazi anaenda kulima ndiye apate pesa ya unga, wewe pia umeenda hapo na mtoto, unaelewa. And kwetu iko karibu na Lake Victoria. So huko kwetu we have sex for fish, sex for food, sex for money. So hizo ndio vitu ziko hapo. So you find out that watoto, even a 14-year-old girl is pregnant. Kuna ingine juu ya peer pressure. Hata me, I used to go for disco matanga because I wanted to experience,
to see what happens,
to see what people are doing there. So you know, some things we're just doing because we want to experience what is happening. So me, I just told myself I'll finish school. Though people used to call me inaitwaje? There's a name I'm looking for. Hot cake.
Hey.
You know?
Yes.
So because nilikuwa naenda disco matanga and I used to put on trousers. Me my mama alituacha free. Because you address your choice. Kwa natuambia ati nini. Alikuwa ananiambia once uko smart.
Yeah.
Ati ufai kukazia watoto ati ufai kuvaa longi. Though my school head teacher, kama ungevaa longi, atakwambia ukuje na hiyo longi shule. Ati you are showing off your private parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did. So after mamangu kukufa kuja Nairobi, then nikaingia Nairobi form 2 and kufika tena nilienda shule Raila is in Kibra. Kufika Raila niko tu na ile mentality ya ushago. So unaona tu like sasa mtu akikukatia unamtusi like sasa mimi nimetoka ushago like I don't hata Kiswahili sikuwa najua vizuri. You know, I came to learn everything in Nairobi.
Yeah.
Na mtu akiniona sasa hizi jua nimetoka ushago juzi. You know, haezi kubali, haezi jua. Yes. Nairobi na kuchanu unakaa. So nikamaliza form 4 though pia in Kibra kuna challenges.
Yeah.
Kuna sexual harassment, you know. Sexual harassment when you say it's not all about only sex.
Yes.
You know, forced sex. Kuna rape, kuna touchings. Unapata tu mtu unapita tu Kibra, unaenda tu zako Kibra. Then mtu anakushika matako. You are like sasa shida ni nini bro?
Yeah.
Ukinitaka si uniambie. Unapata kata there's a day kuna
especially as an adult you're telling yourself just tell me.
Just tell me.
Yeah.
Kuna siku yenye I was smartly dressed. Hata siku nimevaa vibaya and just a guy took a photo of me. I was like shida ni nini? Ati you are just beautiful. I just want to have that photo on my phone. I didn't know that is you took the photo without my consent,
yes.
You know. So hizo ndio vitu when I came to Nairobi I started learning.
Yeah.
And venye Sylvia alisema mimi pia nilisema tu sex. Hadi nimalize shule even my family knew I was very virgin.
Okay.
And this is what
you know there's no in
virgin
between, right?
very virgin. Hey man.
There's no in between.
Yeah, but I told myself
Yeah.
believe and I told myself I won't let my parents down.
Okay.
I won't let my auntie down. I'm finishing school but hii sex lazima ni test. Unaona?
Okay.
So nilimaliza form 4. After form 4 I joined university. I'm a graduate from Masinde Muliro University. So Nairobi campus. So when I was in second year I pressure. So after form 4 kuna organization Kibra, so I joined one of the organization that empowers form 4 leavers. So that is where I got my passion. You know. So when I got there we used to be taught about sexual reproductive health and rights, mentorship, entrepreneurship. And after graduating from that organization, I joined college. And after joining college, so the friends that I got in that organization used to, the story time. Wanasema, hey, mimi nikihave sex, hiyo kitu ni tamu. Huwa chali yangu namshika hivi, namgwara shingo hivi, you know. So this thing, I just told myself I have to try.
You became curious.
Exactly.
Wow.
So siku ikafika when I was in second year and niliambia aunti yangu ati naenda kutembelea my friends. Nikaenda, akasema okay, kama unaenda fanya tu vitu zako then you will go. And my aunt is very strict. So ufai kufika like once unataka that is why tunafunzwa kukuwa responsible. Ukiona utachelewa sema. Ukisema mali but singesema naenda kutembelea boyfriend. I have my plans.
Yes.
You know? So nikamwambia naenda kutembelea rafiki yangu Embakasi. Rafiki yako mwenye tuko naye university. So nikaenda. Siku ya kwanza nilikuwa naenda kutembelea boyfriend na namwacha hivyo. So nilikuwa nasema not today.
Yes.
Not today.
Was he understanding of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So ile siku sasa you know sex ni kitu naweka kwa mind.
Yes.
This day I just told myself hii kitu lazima nifanye. And I did sex and it was so painful and I was like kumbe ni uchungu hivi. Si venye yao mabeshte wangu niambia ati ni tamu, you enjoy, mna, you know, you do so a lot. I can't say we had fun. Me I cried. Me siku had fun like siku ya kwanza. So nikaenda nikaambia beshte yangu, unajua tu pressure. Nikaenda nikaambia beshte yangu, nilifanya lakini ni uchungu. Akasema utazoea. Fanya tena. Tuka make tena another deal. Sasa naenda bado hiki kitu bado si interesting. So nikafanya wacha niende for the third time. So that is how I became sexually active. But you know, sisi mayouth kuna mambo mingi. Utapata huyu nini, then another one, you know. So when I first had sex, I had it because of pressure. I wanted to taste, you know,
and experience what other people are talking about.
Yeah, what other people experienced. So but after that nikaona so ni kitu tu normal. And what I used to tell that guy, please, I don't want to get pregnant. And we used CD, and at the same time I told him to withdraw. So
at the same time.
Yeah, you know,
counterattack.
Hatuwezi risk
because obviously auntie yangu aliniambia once you are pregnant you'll get out of here. Me siwezi kukulea, you are an orphan, tena nile mtoto wako. So I was taking care of myself. But after that things went apart. And that's how I became single, and life continues, you know. And being in that organization, or that field, I came to join another organization in Kibra. It's called Polycom Girls. I still work with them to date. And Polycom Girls really taught me a lot to be the kind of person I am, to be who I am today. And many other organizations.
Before we wrap up, we give Christian a bit smile. He was just listening and saying, okay. Okay, it's your turn.
Okay, thank you.
And also, I'll also give you my experience in another area. Look at, come on, okay.
Yeah, sure. So I think for me, I've been able to. I was listening keenly. I know my story is not so different. It could be quite similar.
Okay.
I grew up in a setup where parental guidance was quite strict. So even that sex education, whether from sexuality to contraceptives, to pregnancy, to abortion, safe or unsafe, that's a discussion that was never there. The only thing that was there, as you pointed earlier, was the instilling of fear. If you do this, these are going to be the likely repercussions. So owing to the fact that then we had to abide. So I had to comply. I tried once to surpass the rules, but I was caught just before. I was disappointed. I said, there's no problem. This is a dream deferred.
Yes.
We'll revisit it later. So I also waited up to Form 4, then go to campus. So my first experience was in campus. Then on the decision of whether to use contraceptives or not, I'd posed that question to find out. And then the lady said, I do not subscribe to the contraceptives. So I said, okay, now you have to use it. So I'm just driving that point to try to reinforce the point that informed decision making. Sometimes the decision could be made by one party or both, so it depends. The same happened to my younger sister. She also grew up under the same setup. I was told if you get pregnant, then you'll have to find your own place where you go, or find your own means. So you see, all this time, the discussion of whether if we have safe sex, if you have sex, are there safe ways to do it? It was not there. If you get pregnant, is there a way we need to cope up with this? It was not there. It was either if you have it, you'll either leave. Yeah. So I think just trying to give that story to relate with the world then and the world we are in today, that the world has so much evolved. The rules or the guidelines that were used in the past may not work today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just to urge parents to begin this comprehensive sex education as early as a tender age, because the kids today, as long as they can be able to speak and talk, already they have their phones.
Yeah.
They are using
Yeah, you can hold it from there.
yeah. So I think in terms of comprehensive sex education, it needs to begin at a very tender age, so that we avoid some of these problems that we got in. And from the stories we've heard from my colleagues, you can see that the biggest casualties are girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could find that men or gentlemen could abide, could comply. Maybe the ladies were also willing to comply, but because of the pressure, because of the circumstances, because of maybe economic status and all the rest,
Yeah.
they were not able to do that.
Very true. And as you've said, right now, so long as your child asks you a question regarding to sex or anything around that topic, it means they can comprehend something, and it means that's the time to begin with the conversation. Now, maybe mine, as we wind up slowly, I come from a community where I know we all have heard about FGM, female genital mutilation. So the topic of FGM in my community comes with early sex, early pregnancies, school dropouts, and all these things surrounding it. It doesn't come as an individual. And I know this is a topic for another day, but when you talk about the triple threat, it still falls under sexual reproductive health. And for me, the things I used to see growing up, when you close school, especially the December holidays, that is when the cut happens. That's when FGM happens. A young girl is coming from the forest to be cut, to undergo FGM. They are bleeding. After that, you'll hear the next year, this is a 10, 11-year-old girl. They're already getting married, or they're already pregnant, or they left school. And to me, that was a scary moment. To me, like, I don't think there's anything that could have spoken to me more than that experience. Looking at even some of my cousins, some of the people who I could see around, then I'm told, that one already, in fact, you could see a young girl, like we are the same age, probably we could be going to the same school, they're already pregnant. To me, that was scary enough to be like, I'm ready to wait. I'm ready, I will wait. Because it was really scary thinking about it. You don't even know how a child is born, or rather how they got in, how are they going to get out. So that whole topic, which maybe we'll have a discussion about that another day, was enough for me to say, I'm not going to do that. Lucky enough also, my dad and my mom were open enough to talk to us about some of these topics. Sex, it wasn't a taboo in our house, which I really appreciate, and I hope we can be able as young people to talk more to those who are coming after us and make them understand what does sexual reproductive health and rights mean, and how can we make it a normal conversation, not only in our household, but also in the community at large, in schools, and in the people we meet in different stages. So I would like us to give our parting shots, what we look forward to, how can we be better in this area in about 1 minute or less each. Tuanze na wewe, paralegal. Yes.
Karibu nasema tuanzie huko to break.
Yes.
I can say to the young people, to the adolescents, as much as we want to experience and understand what pleasure is, let's make our choices from a point of information. I will always insist access to information, and it should be the right information, not just information for the sake of information. It should be the right and accurate information. So as we continue doing our advocacy, let's also be mindful of the information that we give, because this is a generation that picks, they quickly pick whatever they are told. So right and accurate information is what I will insist on.
Dan.
Okay. I'll begin with abortion. Safe abortion is the kind of abortion that when you do it, it doesn't cost your life. Yeah, it doesn't result to negative effects. Yeah, it's the one that's recommended by WHO. So in case one wants to carry out abortion, it's important that you do it with the guidance of a trained medical personnel who is certified. Yeah, and it's not a must. It's not a must that you abort. You may bring someone to the world who may end up even saving the generation. Yeah. That kid may be of great benefit to the society. So I am not campaigning for abortion, but I'm just saying that in case it is done, it should be done in a safer manner. Then concerning sex, unsafe sex may result to unintended pregnancy or STI. So it's important for you to have sex. Unsafe sex is only termed to be safe if you are using a contraceptive, specifically a condom. Yeah. Or maybe from a sexual point of view, the partners need to be faithful to each other. Yeah. Partners are bound faithful to each other.
Yeah.
And arguably married partners. Yeah. Lastly, it is important to have information because information is power. So whatever 360 and IPAS are doing is praiseworthy. Yeah. By so doing, people are getting informed about matters to do with Srhr. Yeah.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, Hilda.
Yes, I will say that to my adolescent girls or even to youths down there, make right decisions at the right time. Just get the right information about sexual reproductive health and rights, and just know your rights. Know things to do with sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is there, SGBV is there. Once you are sexually harassed, you know the organizations that you are supposed to visit. So touching is not normal. Once you may consent, it is normal, it's okay too. But for someone who doesn't know, once someone touched you without your consent, it's good to report. So, and also get that right information. Don't be fooled. Yeah.
Thank you, Hilda. Christian.
Thank you so much. Mine is a call to action. One is for policy and legal frameworks. We need to have policies and programs that are going to make sexual reproductive health and rights accessible to all. How are we going to do this? All stakeholders, all players involved, from community health workers to young girls, to women, to the government, to the NGOs that deal with this topic. We have to bring our heads together, make proposals that in turn will be implemented. So once we implement these laws, it will be easy for us to make progress, other than just usual verbal talks and encouragements and all these. So this will also increase in terms of awareness. Information will be conveyed to even the person at the least level. So we then be able to know at what level, which people do we engage at what level to disseminate the information to the necessary audience. So I think with the proper policies and programs, we are going to be able to address the 4 key issues, beginning with sexuality, to contraceptives, to pregnancy, to safe abortion. Yes.
And even HIV and AIDS. Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. And to me, I believe what Christian has said sums up everything, because again, if we just talk about this without implementing or including the policymakers, we are making noise. And most of the time we hear about non-governmental organizations talking about these issues, but the government only comes in when it's maybe International Day of the What of the Girl Child, they want to make noise about it. But when it matters the most, when we are talking about having the right messaging when it comes to information on sexual reproductive health, when you're talking about language, importance of teaching your child about their private parts, we don't use the words that you use, sijui kasusu. They have names, and when you talk to them about these particular names and the real names, they're able to internalize and know, and they'll come and tell you, someone touched me inappropriately. But if we hide the message through words that don't actually mean what they're supposed to mean, we are taking away the meaning of all this information. And I appreciate that you've come together today to talk about this. Let's continue to work on the same, continue amplifying and talking about sexual and reproductive health matters. And I believe through organizations like IPAS, we'll be able to amplify and talk about it more. And one thing I really appreciate about the diversity of our conversations is that we are talking to people down at the grassroots. We're not just talking in boardrooms and leaving it at that point. When we're talking to people, let's go to the homes, let's go to the villages, let's go to the church, let's go to the schools, let's go to where these young girls are actually, you know, hanging out and talking, so that we talk to them from a one-on-one basis. Most of the time we are told we can't talk about this conversation before 10 p.m., before, and yet that is the time children are already sleeping. So when do they get this message? So again, we go back to the drawing board with our policymakers. What are they doing to make sure that this information reaches the right audience? We can't talk about children without the children. We can't talk about the youth without the youth. So thank you very much for coming through. My appreciation and gratitude to International Pregnancy Advisory Services, that is IPAS, for bringing you to my channel and for making sure that this conversation happens and continuing. It's not the end. I also want to especially appreciate Pearl's Holiday Homes for hosting us in this beautiful place, and I hope we can come back again. Sindio?
Yeah, sure.
Right. To my audience, thank you very much. It has been a pleasure talking about sexual reproductive health. Once again, I'm your host, Robbie Omondi. Stay tuned for more of this conversation, and definitely, as we talk about sexual reproductive health, you are one of our stakeholders as our viewers. Don't sit on this information. Share, comment, also talk to your children, talk to your neighbors, talk to your sisters, talk to your brothers about sexual reproductive health. Let's make it a normal conversation to be able to make informed choices, to be able to make decisions that pertain to our bodies and those who matter. Until next time, see you soon.
Bye.